Luke 11. And it came to be while he was praying in a certain place, as he ceased, one of his taught ones said to him, Master, teach us to pray, as Yohanan also taught his taught ones. And he said to them, When you pray, say, Our Father in the heavens, let your name be set apart. Let your reign come, let your desire be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us day by day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, for we also forgive everyone who is indebted to us. And do not lead us into trial, but rescue us from the wicked one. And he said to them, Which of you shall have a friend, and go to him at midnight, and say to him, Friend, lend me 3 loaves, since a friend of mine has come to me on his journey, and I do not have food to set before him? Then the one inside answering says, Do not trouble me, the door is already locked, and my children with me are in bed. I am unable to get up and give to you. I say to you, if he does not get up and give to him, because he is his friend, he shall get up and give him as many as he needs, because of his persistence. And I say to you, ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened to you. For everyone asking receives, and he who is seeking finds. And to him who is knocking it shall be opened. And what father among you whose son asks for bread shall give him a stone? Or if he asks for fish, shall give him a snake instead of a fish? Or if he asks for an egg, shall give him a scorpion? If you then, being wicked, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more shall your Father from heaven give the set-apart Spirit to those asking him? And he was casting out a demon, and it was dumb. And it came to be, when the demon had gone out, that the dumb spoke, and the crowds marveled. But some of them said, He casts out demons by Beelzebub, the ruler of the demons. And others, trying him, were seeking from him a sign from heaven. And he, knowing their thoughts, said to them, Every reign divided against itself is laid waste, and a house divided against a house falls. So if Satan also is divided against himself, how shall this reign stand? Because you say, I cast out demons by Beelzebub. Now if I cast out demons by Beelzebub, by whom do your sons cast them out? Because of this they shall be your judges. But if I cast out demons by the finger of Elohim, then the reign of Elohim has come upon you. When a strong man, having been well armed, watches over his own court, his possessions are in peace. But when a stronger than he comes upon him and overcomes him, he takes from him all his armor in which he trusted, and divides his booty. He who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me scatters. When the unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through dry places, seeking rest, and finding none. He says, I shall return to my house from which I came, and when he comes, he finds it swept and decorated. Then he goes and takes with him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter and dwell there. And the last state of that man becomes worse than the first. And it came to be, as he was saying this, a certain woman from the crowd raised her voice and said to him, Blessed is the womb that bore you, and the breasts which you sucked. But he said, Blessed rather are those hearing the word of Elohim and watching over it. And while the crowds were thronging, he began to say, This generation is wicked. It seeks a sign, and no sign shall be given it to it, except the sign of Jonah the prophet. For as Jonah became a sign to the Ninevites, so also the son of Adam shall be to this generation. The sovereignness of the south shall rise up in the judgment with the men of this generation, and shall condemn them all. Shall condemn them, for she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Shlomo, and look, a greater than Shlomo is here. The men of Nineveh shall rise up in judgment with this generation and condemn it, for they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and took a greater than Jonah is here. And no one, when he has lit a lamp, puts it in a hidden place or under a basket, but on a lampstand, that those who come in shall see the light. The lamp of the body is the eye. Therefore, when your eye is good, all your body also is enlightened. But when your eye is evil, your body also is darkened. See to it, therefore, that the light which is in you is not darkness. If then all your body is enlightened, having no part dark, all shall be enlightened, as when the bright shining of a lamp gives you light. And as he spoke, a certain Pharisee asked him to dine with him. So he went in and sat down to eat. And when the Pharisee saw it, he marveled that he did not first wash before dinner. And the master said to him, Now you Pharisees make the outside of the cup and dish clean, but your inward part is filled with greed and wickedness. Mindless ones, did not he who made the outside make the inside also? But give in kindness of that which is within, and see, all are clean to you. But woe to you, Pharisees, because you tithe the mint and the rue and every plant, and pass by the right ruling and the love of Elohim. These you should have done without leaving the others undone. Woe to you, Pharisees, because you love the best seats in the congregations and the greetings in the marketplaces. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you are like the unseen tombs, and the men walking over them do not know. And one of those learned in the Torah answering said to him, Teacher, when you say this, you insult us too. And he said, Woe to you also, you learned in the Torah, because you load men with burdens hard to bear, and you yourselves do not touch the burdens with one of your fingers. Woe to you, because you build the tombs of the prophets and make your fathers killed them. And you build the tombs of the prophets, and your fathers killed them. So you bear witness that you approve of the works of your fathers, because they indeed killed them, and you build their tombs. And because of this, the wisdom of Elohim said, I shall send them prophets and emissaries, and some of them they shall kill and persecute, so that the blood of all the prophets which was shed from the foundation of the world shall be required of this generation. From the blood of Abel to the blood of Zechariah, who perished between the slaughter place and the dwelling place. Yes, I say to you, it shall be required of this generation. Woe to you, learned in the Torah, because you took away the key of knowledge. You did not enter in yourselves, and those who were entering in you hindered. And as he was saying this to them, the scribes and the Pharisees began to oppose him fiercely and to draw him out on many subjects, watching him and seeking to catch him in whatever he says, so as to accuse him. Chapter 12. Meanwhile, when an innumerable crowd of people had gathered together so that they trampled one another, he began to say to his taught ones, First, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. And whatever is concealed shall be revealed, and whatever is hidden shall be known. So whatever you have said in the dark shall be heard in the light, and what you have spoken in the ear in inner rooms shall be proclaimed on the housetops. But I say to you, my friends, do not be afraid of those who kill the body, and after that are unable to do any more. But I shall show you whom you should fear. Fear the one who after killing possesses authority to cast into Gehenna. Yes, I say to you, fear him. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 copper coins, and not one of them is forgotten before Elohim? But even the hairs of your head have all been numbered. Do not fear, you are worth more than many sparrows. And I say to you, everyone who confesses me before men, the son of Adam shall also confess him before the messengers of Elohim. But he that has denied me before men shall be denied before the messengers of Elohim. And everyone who shall speak a word against the son of Adam, it shall be forgiven him. But to him who has blasphemed against the set-apart Spirit, it shall not be forgiven. And when they bring you to the congregations and rulers, And authorities, do not worry about how or what you should answer or what you should say, for the set-apart Spirit shall teach you in that very hour what you should say. And someone from the crowd said to him, Teacher, speak to my brother to divide the inheritance with me. But he said to him, Man, who made me a judge or divider over you? And he said to them, Mind and beware of greed, because one's life does not consist in the excess of his possessions. He then spoke a parable to them, saying, The land of a certain rich man yielded well. And he was reasoned within himself, saying, What shall I do? Because I have no room to store my crops. And he said, I am going to do this. Pull down my storehouses and build greater, and store all my crops and my goods there. Then say to myself, Life, you have many goods laid up for many years. Take your ease, eat, drink, rejoice. But Elohim said to him, You mindless one, this night your life shall be demanded from you, and who shall own what you have prepared? So is he who is storing up treasure for himself, and is not rich toward Elohim. And he said to his taught ones, For this reason I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you shall eat, nor about the body, what you shall put in it, what you shall put on. The life is more than the food, and the body is more than the clothing. Look at the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap, which have neither storehouse nor granary, and Elohim feeds them. How much more valuable are you than the birds? And which of you, by worrying, is able to add 1 cubit to his life's span? If then you are unable to do the least, why do you worry about the rest? Look at the little ones. Look at the lilies, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. And I say to you, even Shlomo, in all his esteem, was not dressed like one of these. And if Elohim so clothes the grass, which today exists in the field and tomorrow is thrown into the furnace, how much more you, O you of little belief? And do not seek what you shall eat or what you shall drink, and do not keep worrying. For the nations of the world seek all these, and your Father knows that you need these. But seek the rate of Elohim, and all these shall be added to you. Do not fear, little flock, because your Father did delight to give you the rain. Sell your possessions and give in kindness. Make yourselves purses which do not grow old, a treasure in the heavens that does not fail, where no thief does come near, nor moth destroy. For where your treasure is, there your heart shall be also. Let your loins be girded and your lamps burning, and be like men waiting for their master, when he shall return from the wedding, that when he comes and knocks, they open to him immediately. Blessed are those servants whom the master, when he comes, shall find watching. Truly I say to you that he shall gird himself and make them sit down to eat, and shall come and serve them. And if he comes in the second watch or in the third watch, and find them, so blessed are those servants. And know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief comes, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. And you then be ready, for the Son of Adam is coming at an hour you do not expect. And Kepha said to him, Master, do you speak this parable to us, or also to all? And the master said, Who then is the trustworthy and wise manager, whom his master shall appoint over his household, to give the portion of food in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his master shall find so doing when he comes. Truly I say to you that he shall appoint him over all his possessions. But if that servant says in his heart, My master is delaying his coming, and begins to beat the male servants and the female servants, and to eat and to drink and be drunk, the master of that servant shall come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour that he does not know, and shall cut him in two, and appoint his portion with the unbelievers. And that servant who knew his master's desire, and did not prepare, nor did according to his desire, shall be beaten with many stripes. But he who did not know, yet did what deserved flogging, shall be beaten with few. And everyone to whom much is given, from him much shall be demanded. And to whom much has been entrusted, from him much more shall be asked. I came to send fire on the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. But I have an immersion to be immersed with, and how distressed I am until it is accomplished. Do you think that I came to give peace on earth? I say to you, no, but rather division. For from now on 5 in one house shall be divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. Father shall be divided against son, and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And he also said to the crowds, when you see a cloud rising out of the west, immediately you say, a storm is coming, and so it is. And when you see the south wind blow, you say, there shall be hot weather, and it is. Hypocrites, you know to discern the face of the heaven and of the earth, but how is it you do not discern this time? And why also did you not judge for yourselves what is right? For as you go with your opponent to a ruler, try hard along the way to settle with him, lest he drag you to the judge, and the judge deliver you to the officer, and the officer throw you in prison. I say to you, you shall certainly not leave there until you have paid even the last mile. Chapter 13. And some were present at that time, reporting to him about the Galileans, whose blood Pilate had mixed with their offerings. And Yeshua answering said to them, do you think that these Galileans were worse sinners than other Galileans, because they have suffered like this? I say to you, no. But unless you repent, you shall all perish in the same way. Or those 18 on whom the tower of Shiloah fell and killed them, do you think they were greater offenders than all other men who dwelt in Jerusalem? I say to you, no. But unless you repent, you shall all perish in the same way. And he spoke this parable. A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came seeking fruit on it, and found none. And he said to the gardener, look, for 3 years I have come seeking fruit on this fig tree, and find none. Cut it down. Why does it even make the ground useless? And he answering said to him, Master, leave it this year too, until I dig around it and throw manure. And if indeed it bears fruit, good. But if not so, you shall cut it down. And he was teaching one of the congregations on the Sabbath, and see, there was a woman having a weakening spirit for 18 years, and was bent over, and was unable to straighten up at all. And Yeshua, seeing her, called her near, and said to her, Woman, you are loosened from your weakness. And he laid his hands on her, and immediately she was straightened up, and praised Elohim. But the ruler of the congregation, responding, much displeased that Yeshua had healed on the Sabbath, and said to the crowd, there are 6 days on which men should work. So come and be healed on them, and not on the Sabbath day. Then the master answered him and said, Hypocrite, does not each one of you on the Sabbath loosen his ox or his donkey from the stall and lead it away to water it? And this one, being a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan had bound, look, for 18 years should she not be loosened from this bond on the Sabbath? And when he said this, all his opponents were put to shame, and all the crowd rejoiced for all the splendid works being done by him. Therefore he said, What is the reign of Elohim like? And to what shall I compare it? It is like a mustard seed, which a man took and threw into his garden. And it grew and became a large tree, and the birds of the heavens nested in its branches. And again he said, To what shall I compare the reign of Elohim? It is like leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of flour until it was all leavened. And he was going through the cities and villages, teaching and journeying toward Jerusalem. And someone said to him, Master, are there few who are being saved? And he said to them, Strive to enter through the narrow gate, because many, I say to you, shall seek to enter in and shall not be able. When once the master of the house has risen up and shut the door, and you begin to stand outside and knock at the door, saying, Master, Master, open for us. And he shall answer and say to you, I do not know you. Where are you from? Then you shall begin to say, We ate and drank in your presence, and you taught in our streets. But he shall say, I say to you, I do not know you. Where you are from, depart from me, all you workers of unrighteousness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth when you see Abraham and Yitzhak and Jacob and all the prophets of the reign of Elohim and yourselves thrown outside. And they shall come from the east and the west and from the north and the south and sit down in the reign of Elohim. And see, there are last who shall be first, and there are first who shall be last. On the same day there came certain Pharisees, saying to him, Get out and go from here, for Herodes wishes to kill you. And he said to them, Go, say to that fox, See, I have cast out demons and perform healings today and tomorrow, and the third day I shall be perfected. But I have to journey today and tomorrow and the day following, because it is not fitting for a prophet to perish outside of Jerusalem. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, killing the prophets and stoning those who are sent to her. How often I wish to gather your children together the way a hen gathers her chickens under her wings, but you would not. See, your house is left to you, I laid waste, and truly I say to you, you shall by no means see me until the time comes when you say, Blessed is he who is coming in the name of Yahweh. Chapter 14. And it came to be, as he went into the house of one of the rulers, the Pharisees, to eat bread on the Sabbath, that they were watching him closely. And see, there was a certain man before him suffering from dropsy. And Yeshua, responding, spoke to those learned in the Torah and the Pharisees, saying, Is it right to heal on the Sabbath? But they were silent. So taking hold of him, he healed him and let him go. And to them he said, Which of you, having a donkey or an ox that has fallen into a pit, shall not immediately pull him out on the Sabbath day? And they were unable to answer him regarding these matters. And he spoke a parable to those who were invited, when he noted how they chose the best places, saying to them, When you are invited by anyone to a wedding feast, do not sit down in the best place, lest one more distinguished than you be invited by him. And he who invited you and him come and say to you, Give this one place, and then you begin with shame to take the last place. Rather, when you are invited, go and sit down in the last place, so that when he who invited you comes, he shall say to you, Friend, come up higher. Then you shall have esteem in the presence of those who sit at the table with you. For everyone who is exalting himself shall be humbled, and he who is humbling himself shall be exalted. And he also said to him who invited him, When you give a dinner or a supper, do not ask your friends, nor your brothers, nor your relatives, nor your rich neighbors, lest they also invite you back, and you be repaid. But when you give a feast, invite poor ones, crippled ones, lame ones, blind ones, and you shall be blessed, because they do not have to repay you. For you shall be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous. And when one of those who sat at the table with him heard this, he said to him, Blessed is he who eats bread in the reign of Elohim. But he said to him, A certain man gave a great supper and invited many. And he sent his servant at supper time to say to those who were invited, Come, for all is now ready. But one by one they all began making excuses. The first said to him, I have bought a field, and need to go and see it. I ask you to have me excused. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I'm going to try them out. I ask you to have me excused. And another said, I have married a wife, and because of this I am unable to come. And the servant came and reported this to his master. Then the master of the house, being wroth, said to his servant, Hurry out into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in here the poor, and the crippled, and lame, and blind. And the servant said, Master, it is done as you commanded, and still there is room. And the master said to the servant, Go out into the street corners and hedges, and compel them to come in, so that my house is filled. For I say to you that none of those men who were invited shall taste my supper. And large crowds were going with him, and turning, he said to them, If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters and his own life too, he is unable to be my taught one. And whoever does not bear his stake and come after me is unable to be my taught one. For who of you, wishing to build a tower, does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid the foundation and is unable to finish it, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, This man began to build and was able to finish. Or what sovereign, going to fight against another sovereign, does not sit down first and take counsel, whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? And if not, while the other is still far away, he sends a delegation and asks conditions of peace. So then every one of you who does not give up all that he has is unable to be my taught one. The salt is good, but if the salt becomes tasteless, with what shall it be seasoned? It is not fit for land nor for manure. Let they throw it out. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Chapter 15. Now all the tax collectors and the sinners were coming to him to hear him, and the Pharisees and scribes grumbled, saying, This one receives sinners and eats with them. And he spoke this parable to them, saying, What man among you, having 100 sheep, and having lost one of them, does not leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after the one which is lost until he finds it? And having found it, he lays it on his shoulders, rejoicing. And having come home, he calls together his friends and neighbors, saying to them, Rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep which was lost. And I say to you that in the same way there shall be more joy in the heaven over one sinner repenting than over 99 righteous ones who need no repentance. Or what woman, having 10 drachmas, if she loses 1 drachma, does not light a lamp and sweep the house and seek diligently till she finds it? And having found it, she calls friends and neighbors together, saying, Rejoice with me, for I have found the drachma which I lost. I say to you, in the same way there is joy in the presence of the messengers of Elohim over one sinner repenting. And he said, A certain man and 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods falling to me. And he divided his livelihood between them. And not many days after, the younger son, having gathered all together, went away to a distant country, and there wasted his goods with loose living. And when he had spent all, there arose a severe scarcity of food throughout the land, and he began to be in need. And he went and joined himself to one of the citizens of that country, and he sent him to his fields to feed pigs. And he was longing to fill his stomach with the pods which the pigs were eating, and no one gave to him. But having come to himself, he said, How many of my father's hired servants have bread enough and to spare, and I am perishing with hunger? Having risen, I shall go to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against the heaven and before you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. And having risen, he went to his father, and while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was moved with compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said to him, Father, I have sinned against the heaven and before you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, Bring out the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and sandals on his feet, and bring the fattened calf here, and slaughter it, and let us eat and rejoice. Because this son of mine was dead, and is alive again. and he was lost and is found, and they began to rejoice. And his older son was in the field, and when he came and approached the house, he heard music and dancing. And having called one of the servants, he asked what this meant. And he said to him, your brother has come, and your father has slaughtered the fatted calf, because he received him back in health. And he was wroth and would not go in. So his father came out and pleaded with him. And answering, he said to his father, see, these many years I have been serving you, and I have never transgressed a command of yours. But to me you have never given a young goat, so I could rejoice with my friends. But when this son of yours came, who has devoured your livelihood with whores, you slaughtered the fattened calf for him. Then he said to him, son, you are always with me, and all I have is yours. And we had to rejoice and be glad, for your brother was dead and is alive, and was lost and is found. Shalom.